Right. Thank you very much, Madam President. Honourable members and welcome guests, what we see before us tonight is a motion which on one level seems to be merely about statistics, but on another level it's something deeply personal. Because sometimes an attack on our schooling can feel like an attack on our childhood years, our teenage years, and even the people who we are today. I have no desire to make anyone in this room ashamed of their schooling. However, I will not leave things undiscussed because they may be uncomfortable. But before I allow myself to get fully into angry state school girl mode, as the first speaker for the proposition, it falls upon me to introduce the opposition. David Brown is an undergraduate at Merton College and current member of Standing Committee. Though more importantly, he and I also share the distinction of being veteran members of the union's illustrious Library Committee. Sitting through these rather slow and often dull meetings on a regular basis has prepared me for listening to his speech tonight. Barnaby Lennon is the chairman of the Independent Schools Council and was formerly the headmaster of Harrow. Last time he came to the union, the debate was interrupted by protesters, and Spencer Matthews of Made in Chelsea fame stole the show with a speech written only minutes before by members of committee. I'm not sure we can promise you quite such an exciting evening tonight, though I won't complain if you want to take a leaf out of Mr. Matthews' book and pay for us all to go clubbing afterwards. Sir Eric Thomas has been Vice-Chancellor of Bristol for over a decade. He has also held the title of President of Universities of UK and Chair of the Worldwide Universities Network. Prior to his career in academia, he was a consultant gynecologist. His speech tonight will tell us whether a profession looking at vaginas has had any effect, or whether he just plans on talking bollocks. I'm really sorry. Toby Young has done everything from journalism to founding schools to appearing in an adaptation of his own book on the West End. He has even been a guest judge on the culinary competition Top Chef, though whether this is because the producers got him confused with Heston Blumenthal, I couldn't possibly say. I did write that joke before I saw your beard tonight. I feel like it's lost slightly. Madam President, these are your guests and they are most welcome. Now, I should hope that there isn't really any need for me to emphasise why the rate of state school admissions to Oxbridge is such a pressing issue. Undoubtedly, you've all heard various figures and stats before, but I will recap a few of them just so that we're all on the same page. Last year, 63% of pupils admitted to Cambridge were from state schools, and 57.7% at Oxford. This is in a country where around 93% of the population go to state schools. Once you exclude small and specialist institutions, this actually means that Oxford has the lowest proportion of state school intake in the UK. This matters because Oxbridge is a golden ticket. On average, Oxbridge graduates will be paid starting salaries £3,300 higher than graduates of other top universities. They have a greater chance of reaching high positions in the legal system, broadcasting, and politics. So if that golden ticket is limited, then aren't we also limiting our society? The benefits of a quota system would surely be great, because we would be giving a chance to those who haven't been specifically trained for getting into Oxford and Cambridge. We would be diversifying the population of the university. And we would also be breaking up the culture whereby the same group of boys stick together from school to university to the cabinet. The opposition tonight need to prove to you that whatever concerns they have about such a system would outweigh those benefits. I would like, ladies and gentlemen, to address some of the common arguments against the state school quota in order to show you that these arguments are at best dubious and at worst elitist. First, the opposition will probably tell you that this is an issue which can be solved by access and outreach, that it would be a problem that would right itself if only more state school students would just apply to Oxford and Cambridge. Now, I won't dispute that there is a considerable dearth of applicants from state schools. Anyone who works in access can tell you that one of the biggest challenges that they face is that of teachers and parents who will discourage people from applying because they don't think that they really have a chance. Now, when I was asked to speak in this debate, I emailed a teacher from my old sixth form college who had overseen all of our Oxbridge applications to ask her how many people on average would apply per year. Just out of interest, is there anyone from Peter Simmons in the room? Yeah, cool. In an average year of about 1,500 people, there would be 150 applicants to Oxford and Cambridge, and maybe 50 of them would get in. So, a third of applicants getting in, that's quite good, we might say. But the interesting thing that she said was that she actually had around 300 students who could have applied, who had the grades and the eligibility, but they didn't. Now, why is this? Obviously, people have their own personal reasons, but the truth of the matter is that Oxbridge is still seen as the reserve of the rich and the privately educated. Students from the state sector often think, why bother? When they know that private school kids have had better advice, more preparation, and of course access to former students from their schools who are now at Oxbridge. How are they supposed to imagine themselves there if the public perception is that private school students flood the whole university? The only way to improve this is to drastically increase the number of state school pupils who go into Oxford and Cambridge. We need to send a message, and that message is, you belong here, no matter what your background. It's not enough to expect the schools and the parents to do all the work to change that perception. Oxbridge has to try harder. And the only effective way to give them a kick up the backside is to give them a target, a quota. We see this everywhere in life, not just in education, but in the workplace. We set a target and people strive to achieve it. That's the only way that you can actually give them something that they will aim for. Now, I also expect that at some point, somebody on the opposition is going to say that introducing a quota system will reduce the quality of admissions to these universities. This attitude completely misses the point. Admissions depend on more than mere academic merit. We'd like to think that they don't, but they do. Even when allowances are made depending on a school's average result. The help with applications, which I've already mentioned private schools give, is obviously a factor here. And then there's also just the sort of private school's self-assuredness, which helps in the interviews. The offspring of the so-called chattering classes may well perform a lot better than their state school counterparts in interview, but that does not necessarily mean that they are more capable of completing a degree at Oxford or Cambridge. Furthermore, it is quite frankly patronising to suggest that state school applicants are less able or intelligent. May I remind you, honourable members, that this same argument of reduced quality was used to exclude women as members of this university for years. That this same argument was used in this very chamber when they were debating whether to allow women into the society. And yet here I am addressing you, and here's Madam President in the chair. I do hope we're not reducing the quality too much for you.
Point of information, do Oxford now have quotas for women?
Well, at least I didn't get in by accident, Toby Young. In summary, Madam President, people choose to pay for education for different reasons. But school fees should not be a deposit for Oxford and Cambridge. I beg to propose.